Howdy folks, how are we all doing? I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and Urmston in the northwest of England. I hope you're finding some love and witnessing some of the blessings that are present in life in these difficult times. It is hard, my friends, but we're all in this together. And I'm offering these devotions as just playing my little part, playing my role in being a part of the solution during these difficult times. These are offered as a balm for the heart, the mind, the spirit and the soul. And the title for today's reflection is Cherry Blossom. So I invite us to still ourselves. Let's invite a loving presence to be amongst us and to awaken from deep within us all. I have lit the flame of freedom in this cup of belonging, inclusion, and of love. We join together in our physical separation, but united in our devotion to life and to love. Help us to see the beauty of life that surrounds us, to see the rebirth of life in all of nature, this natural celebration of the renewal of life in springtime. May we know the deep connections that sustain us, the roots that hold us so close, that nurture us beneath the surface of our lives. May we remember that we are deeply connected in heart, in mind, in spirit and in soul. And may we be open to growth this day. May we be open to life this day. May we celebrate the natural beauty that surrounds us, that's all around us. May we be open to one another this day. Open to love this day. Open to what might yet be. May we be open. Amen. I'm going to begin with a story actually, and it's taken from the wonderful book The Shortest Distance, 101 Stories from the World's Spiritual Traditions by a great friend and hero of mine really, the Reverend Bill Darlison, wonderful man over in Pontefract. So this is for you, Bill, from your book. This is the story of the moon and the cherry blossom. Rijetsu, a Buddhist nun, was making a long journey alone on foot through very dangerous and difficult territory. There were bandits and wild animals to avoid, rivers to cross, steep hills to climb. At the end of the first day she had walked many miles and was feeling hungry and weary when she came across a small hamlet at the foot of a mountain. I need to rest, she said to herself. Perhaps some kind person will give me some bread and water and let me stay the night in their cottage. She knocked hopefully on the doors, but she was met by indifference or even hostility at times. "We've no room," said one man curtly as he slammed the door in her face. "We've barely enough to feed our own family," said another. "And how do I know you won't rob me if I let you stay here?" said a woman, before she too refused entry. By now the sun was setting, and so Renjetsu disappointedly and wearily trudged up the hillside and made her bed under a cherry tree. She was so tired she fell asleep immediately. But she awoke just before dawn to find that the cherry tree had blossomed during the night and the big golden moon was shining through the branches. It was an incredible sight, more beautiful than anything Renjetsu had ever seen before. So she stood up and faced the direction of the houses which had refused to give her food and shelter and said, "I want to thank you for your kindness. By refusing me lodging, I found myself beneath these beautiful blossoms on the night of the misty moon." Lovely story, eh? And I'd like to now just share a poem with you. It's a wonderful, wonderful poem by A.E. Houseman. It's just right as we approach Easter and these first cherry blossoms are braving the April winds. And interestingly enough, I'm doing this kind of poetry exchange where lots of friends are sending poetry which help and sustain people in difficult times. And I'd already selected this poem for this particular devotion. And yesterday I received this very same poem from Professor Jeffrey Livermore, Nobel Prize winner, no doubt, actually, incredibly, and a wonderful man, a fellow Unitarian in the district and former president of our Manchester District Association. And he sent me this poem, and I thought, oh wow, well I'm actually going to use this very same poem in this devotion that I'm going to share with you all very soon. I just thought, a lovely piece of synchronicity in these times. So this is from a Shropshire Lad by A.E. Houseman. Loveliest of trees, the cherry now is hung with bloom along the bough, and stands about the woodland ride wearing white for Eastertide. Now of my 80 years and 10, 20 will not come again, and take from 70 springs a score, it leaves me 50 more. And since to look at things in bloom, 50 springs are little room, about the woodlands will I go, to see the cherry hung with snow. My morning ritual while we've been in lockdown has been to post my daily video reflection first thing, very early, usually out by 6 o'clock, followed by a morning shared meditation with friends through Zoom. It's a wonderful hour that we spend together, sometimes in silence and sometimes sharing deeply about where we're at spiritually. Really helps. This is followed by a yoga session with Adrienne on YouTube. She's a wonderful woman from Texas who does these amazing things. Me and Sue do that together. Before I go outside to do my one daily outdoor exercise, which is a run which lasts about 30 to 40 minutes. Now, to call it a run would be a bit of a stretch, but it is more than a walk. But I trudge, raising my legs as much as I can. I am not by nature a runner. Each day I'm improving though, I'm getting a bit further. Now as I set off on this morning run, I pass many people, well not many, but I pass some people anyway, mostly doing similar things to me, all shapes and sizes of folk. I also see dog walkers and the odd parent jogging along with a pram in front of them. As I pass these people, at a safe distance of course, I do my best to greet them, to express a little humanity, a nod or a smile, a wave or even the odd hello. If I had a hat I would tip it, but I don't. Most respond from an appropriate distance, but the odd one looks at me with a mixture of disdain and sometimes terror. I carry on, praying for the strength to keep going. And it works because I always keep going. Now as I'm jogging along, I also notice spring coming to life all around me. The blossoms are making their beautiful appearance. My body knows this too, as it causes me to sneeze first thing in the morning. Which is purely to do with my pollen allergy. It's nothing to do with anything else. But I'm sure if anybody saw me doing that in the streets as I run around, they would flee in terror. But it's not the virus. It's my allergy to pollen, I'm afraid. One of the curses that comes with the blessings of the beauty of spring, I suppose. Now, one of my favourite things about this time of year, you've probably guessed it, is the beautiful, beautiful cherry blossom. There's a beautiful cherry tree in the grounds at the Dunham Road Chapel, just opposite the door of my vestry. I bet it's in bloom right now, I don't know because I've not been. There's a beautiful story behind this tree, but it's a story that I'm told I'm not allowed to tell. But it's there, overlooking the Garden of Remembrance, and it is to do with a certain somebody's, the love of someone's life whose ashes are in the garden. And it's a beautiful, beautiful tree. My wedding picture was taken under it actually when we actually managed to have our ceremony a couple of weeks ago, if not our full do. But at least we were able to get married. There is nothing more beautiful than the cherry blossom in full bloom, though. I think it is the most beautiful sight in nature. Now, a couple of years ago, I set off a wonderful chain reaction of love with some pictures I took of that very same cherry blossom in full bloom. I posted them on Facebook and encouraged friends to do the same. And over the next few days, many friends took pictures of each cherry blossom as they passed it. And as they also paid homage, I asked them to pay homage to each tree, and they did that too. It spread throughout the whole world. It wasn't just in England or just in Altrincham. All over the world, people were doing it. It was beautiful as we spread beautiful images to one another, lifting our spirits. It was beautiful that it helped me and so many others to open up and connect to this wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous shared experience. One friend said of the experience, "One of my favourite sights of all the seasons is cherry blossom. Makes me feel fluttery in the stomach, bit like the feeling when you are first falling in love." He said, "I look forward to it every year." There's always something new to fall in love with, is there not? And I understand what my friend was saying. It does feel like you're falling in love. I know that feeling as spring comes again. And I was falling in love with life as I engage with those cherry blossoms each day, engaging and sharing with others that time a couple of years ago. And as I have these feelings take over my being, there's a growing sense of the power of this power that is greater than ourselves, that runs through all of life, this universal love, whose perhaps greatest name is God. But what we were experiencing was something more than just spirituality. I believe I would call this a religious experience, as it brought all of us closer to one another. We were bound and connected through this shared experience, and we all grew from the experience as human beings. I remember as I went to bed that night a couple of years ago, my jaws were aching. I'd been smiling so much that day. I was so connected to those people, to life. It lifted me to a better sense of being alive and a better sense of my own humanity. It was a religious experience. And I say that because it was shared with others and it improved all of our lives. To me, that is the point of religion in its truest sense. It's binding and connecting and lifting together. Spirituality is very much about the individual, where religiality, in its real sense, or religiosity, if you like, is about connecting more, connecting us together. We bind together in love. Religia meant that, to bind together. And it was the cherry blossom that triggered it. Is there a more beautiful sight in the whole world than the cherry blossom? Or maybe not. Who knows? I think it connects all people. It's much loved throughout the world. In Japan, the cherry blossom tree is not only admired for its beauty, it is revered. Each year, the Japanese people come in large groups with their families and friends to view the flowers and to enjoy festivals with food, drink, and music. The significance of the cherry blossom tree in Japanese culture goes back hundreds of years. So it connects generations together, not just the people of the time. It represents the fragility and the beauty of life. It is a reminder that life can at times become overwhelmingly beautiful, while at the same time be tragically short. The cherry blossom blooming for a short time each year is an overpowering visual reminder of the precious fragility of life. So when Japanese people come together to view the cherry blossom tree and marvel at its beauty, they aren't just thinking about the flowers themselves, but also the larger meaning and deep cultural tradition of the cherry blossom tree. A truly religious experience, binding so many people and so many generations together, reminding people what life is actually about. Sadly, they won't be able to do that this year due to this horrific pandemic that we're all caught up in. Something else that binds us all together. Every one of us are part of a creative interchange, even if we don't know we are. The cherry blossom has opened my eyes once again and brought me and others to places of deeper connection. I offer thanks and praise for this, as it did a few years ago and as it did again as I was reminded of it running down this morning, down by the canal. The cherry blossom opens my eyes and it opens the eyes of my heart. It brought me once more to a new vision of life. And I really loved that. If I've learned anything these last few years, I've learned that how I see the world actually depends on where I'm at spiritually, the nature of where my heart and my spirit is at. I wonder, if I'm really honest with myself, if I have ever seen the world as it actually, truly is. Do any of us really see things as they truly are? Some of us say we do. Some of us firmly believe we do. But I'm not convinced any of us actually see things truly as they are. We see everything through a kind of lens, even if we don't wear glasses. How I see the world changes. But I think it matters how we see the world. Because how we see the world will affect how we live in the world. And it brings to mind some wonderful words by Victoria Safford, who said of this. To see, simply to look and to see, is an ethical and intentional choice. To see with open eyes is a spiritual practice and thus a risk, for it can open you to ways of knowing the world and loving it that will lead to inevitable consequences. The awakened eye is a conscious eye, a willful eye and brave, because to see things as they are, each in its own truth, will make you very vulnerable. Will make you very vulnerable. To see the world as it really is will make you very, very vulnerable. There are many moments in all of our lives when, due to a new honesty, we come into a new way of seeing the world that we are surrounded by. Now, this may not be a moment as dramatic as, say, Saul, who became the Apostle Paul on the road to Damascus. It may just be a subtle change of perspective brought on by a new encounter with nature or another person. There may not be an explanation. Sometimes life is inexplicable. It will, of course, bring with it both challenges and blessings. Seeing the world with open eyes can be a deeply vulnerable experience. But to live this way is truly the only way to be alive. But we don't like it, do we? And to live spiritually alive, the essence of the spiritual life, if you like, what's that really about? Well, it's about increasing our sensitivity to life, as I heard Bill Darlison once say. To be spiritually alive, to live the spiritual life, is about opening all of our senses to all that is, including the sixth sense too, that much neglected one. But dare we open our senses to life as it truly is? Dare we? We're going to have to do to live spiritually alive. But the cherry blossom. Yes, the cherry blossom. The cherry blossom is with us currently. It is one of the simple beauties of life. Our chances to witness it are limited at the moment due to the necessary restrictions that we're all under. That said, a lot of us, a good percentage of us anyway, are allowed a short time for exercise each day. So why not use it well? Why not open your eyes while you move for a short time and look at the new life springing up all around you? Might just make your heart sing. But the cherry blossom will soon fall and be gone for another year. While flowering and falling, it teaches us that nothing in life can last forever. Life is flux. This is the energy of life. By the way, that includes the virus, the pandemic. This too shall pass, but not painlessly. The only thing I believe that is eternal in life is love. Love never dies. The love we create and bring to life in the lives of other people lives on in the lives that we touch and who they touch. They pass on that. That's the right way to pass on, if you like, a kind of spiritual loving virus, if you like, if that's the right word. I'm not sure it is actually. It doesn't seem quite right, but you understand what I mean, I hope. Each year the cherry blossom reminds me of this. Perhaps more so at this moment than at any other year, how precious that is, but how fleeting, and it must fall, like all life must fall. It must fall for new life to follow. This year, as I pass them on the road, I will bow to them, as well as to the people, for they're as precious too. I might even blow them the odd kiss, not the people, that might be a bit much. Well, I'll do it if the running's not too painful. It might be a distraction from the pain, maybe. I invite you to join with me as you take your daily exercise. Come and feast your eyes on the cherry blossom while it lasts. Let's share in the love that these simple buds bring and have brought for generations, and they will continue to bring when we're long gone. And let's keep on opening our senses. Let's keep on opening our eyes to new vision. The cherry blossom. I bear witness to you. Your beauty opens my eyes, and it opens my heart, and it opens my spirit, and it opens my soul. I pay homage to you, cherry blossom. Now I'm going to end with some final words of blessing from Chief Dan George. You know, we all need to bless more. We can all bless. We can bless with our simple humanity. We can bless in the way we live and breathe and share our being. So I invite you to join with me in this simple blessing. The beauty of the trees, the softness of the air, the fragrance of the grass speaks to me. The summit of the mountain, the thunder of the sky, the rhythm of the sea speaks to me. The faintness of the stars, the freshness of the morning, the dewdrop on the flower speaks to me. The strength of the fire, the taste of salmon, the trail of the sun and the life that never goes away. They speak to me, and my heart soars. May the love of God go with us all, in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Go in love. Amen.